Hello and welcome to another amazing conversation, Inside 33 Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Michael Abney, and I'm blessed to talk to founders that are building meaningful things in the world and sharing what it really takes to be with that dream as you take it on the journey of fulfillment, what that looks like in real life. I think it's really important to have that conversation, and I'm really honored to have my guest today, Dr. Brent. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And let me share with them just a little bit about you that I know about, and then you can fill in the blanks for me, okay?
Nice. Good.
You're a transformational architect of culture who's spent your career helping others turn possibility into real, meaningful progress. I am so on board with that. I'm with you on that. And you're moving through multiple industries to do it, multiple identities, which is another wheelhouse I love to talk about, and the ever-present pivot and how to do it well. We're going to get into these moments with you today and like what helped what reshaped you. I just want to thank you for being here and showing up and providing value for other builders and founders that wherever they're at on that journey, we all need to support each other. And thank you for showing up to do that today. I appreciate it. Thank you. And welcome to the show.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am looking forward to this conversation. Yeah. I really am. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm going to just dive right in. Okay. So what was that moment that literally changed your life? What was the pivot?
Yeah.
You were going down X highway, the pivot. Yeah, share that with us.
For sure. So my biggest pivot actually came when I was comfortably in a space of, okay, I know how to do my job. Everything's going right. I'm fine, right? And then this opportunity came in which it forced me to make a decision. Was I going to be extremely comfortable? Or was I going to pivot into a place I have never been, seen, or just been in that space before? And so that happened when I left home, which was the South. I'm originally from Georgia. And I got an opportunity on the West Coast. And to do that within a 2.5-week time span was a very mind-boggling, but also a very freeing moment, which was kind of being juxtaposed to each other because I'm comfortable, but this is something that's going to just throw me into a whirlwind. But it just felt like it's going to be a freedom that I never felt before. And so I took the new role, and it took me to Stanford University. And being in that space at a highly selective institution forced me to really come to grips with this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And I need to very much so, I know people here lean into it, but I definitely had to just immerse myself in the fact that I was at this highly selective institution. It's known across the world, but I deserve to be there as well, right? And so, thinking about identity and questioning yourself, imposter syndrome, all that stuff comes in, but I had to decide for myself that I was meant to be there and I was chosen to be there. And so that moment when I moved from Georgia to the Bay Area to take a new position at Stanford was I guess one of the most pivotal pivots in my career and actually in my life as well.
Yeah. Like whenever I'm talking to people, it just kind of always brings back like memories of like, man, did I have an experience like that? I remember like going to California. I went to California too. Yeah. And like, I could have moved out there and moved all my stuff, but there was just something in me. It was like, no, if it don't fit in my car, it's not going. And I like let go of everything. So I totally forgot about that until you said that. But like, yeah, I did that really quickly too. It's like, it forces you to let go of, but I'm curious, what did you let go of? Everybody has a life that we are all taught, like, this is the way it's going to be. Mama, family, all the things sort of help us. Well, they don't help us. They actually do it. We adopt some sort of identity based off of what people thought we were supposed to be, not really questioning what it was that I wanted to be. So what was the thing that you thought you were going to be? Start up with that.
Sure. So growing up, I actually thought I was going to be an architect. And so,
okay.
And so I loved Legos. I loved Connects. I would build these huge amusement parks out of Connects in my parents' living room. And I just knew I was going to be an architect. until I got to college in undergrad, and I realized that I really enjoyed helping people develop. And that started off in undergrad. I was a resident assistant. I just love people. I just loved helping people develop. And so when I left the framework of I'm not going to be an architect and I'm going to business, that's what I got my undergrad degree in. But something about helping people really resonated with me. And so I got into student affairs, which was all about students, all about helping them develop and helping them navigate life. And so for me, stepping into that place of I thought I was going to be in business, I thought I was going to be architect, and I had to divorce myself of those expectations and really stepped into who I truly was. Life has a way of gently nudging you or pushing you into your purpose in a very real and intentional way. And so, knowing that I came from a family of educators, and that's what I said I wasn't going to do, and I found myself in education, and now I'm helping students develop, and that was just this true fulfillment that was not only externally, validating, but very intrinsic as well. And so I found myself having to reinvent, even in that moment, who I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be this business mogul, got my undergrad, I'm going to business. That's not where life had me at the time. And so I got into student affairs, and it became a very fulfilling calling for me at that time.
Did you find peace there when you were going through that? Was it peaceful?
That's a very loaded question, only because my students oftentimes didn't bring me peace because of everything they got themselves into, but the work itself did. The work itself did. And so it was a very interesting dynamic of my students are so needy, but once I helped them, there was a sense of peace and calm because I knew I was in my calling of helping.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was like there's something about being in that space that's undeniable, right?
Yes.
Like money doesn't matter. Like there's just a lot of things that kind of go to the stage left and stage right of our lives whenever we're on purpose.
Yeah.
I remember being at a yogi retreat some long ago, and I heard the yogi was like, you stop aging whenever you find your purpose. And that never left me. And it kind of like that came up when you said that. So like when you find it, no matter how challenging it is with all of the different pieces that you're moving, but yet have that piece that's drawing you, like what else was drawing you towards it? Because it seems like something in you has a honing device where there wasn't a whole lot of fear there, or if there was, you just, took the courage route. Like, what was that like?
Yeah. So
not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
That's a skill set.
So it's a skill set that I definitely picked up from my folks. I'm just seeing them being able to navigate life in a way that wasn't like, Brent, you have to do X, Y, and Z. But I learned from them by looking at them and what they did. And so that piece of doing the work for myself was first and foremost. So doing that work for Brent was very important, and not to please my parents, but to definitely make them proud, but not so much pleasing them, right? And so there are a lot of things that I've done that weren't pleasing to my folks, but I was very sure to myself and making sure that I was, obedient to what was happening inside for me. And so, what really pulls me is that, if I can't be at peace with myself by myself, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
No matter how peaceful someone else may be because of my decision, but if I'm not peaceful inside, it doesn't really matter. And so I had to really hone in on the peace that I found, whether it be my work, my relationships, or anything that I touch. If it doesn't bring me peace, I had to remove it. And I still stand to that to this day. Any relationship, whether it be professional, personal, I can't do it. It just doesn't sit well with me.
I think so many of human beings know that, but then operate completely on top of it like it's not a thing. And then that's life.
Yeah.
Completely out of whack, completely like it's just okay to carry that angst with you that you feel and go, whoa, what am I not seeing clearly here? Because it's always some sort of delusion. It is delusion, right? Some sort of illusion. If you look at it long enough, you become deluded. But like that process that is seems to be inherent in you is just not. I talk to a lot of folks, and it's the fear always gets them. What keeps you out of it?
Giving myself no other choice but to do it because I have to show up for myself every day. And so, disappointing myself is a feeling that I never want to feel. And so if I'm not staying true to myself, I'm disappointing myself. And, I've done too much work, whether, with my therapist, talking with family, to not be true to me, right? And I've done the work and I'm continuously doing the work every day. And so, for those that tend to err on the side of caution, do it anyway. I always say, do it anyway, and not having, yes, you're going to have those thoughts of doubt. You're going to have these thoughts of what if it doesn't work out? But I say, what if it does? What if it does? A lot of people prepare for failure, but they never prepare for success. And I think we always have this plan A, B, C, and D. But what if you don't need B, C, and D, and your plan A worked? And so.
Well, let's break that down. That's really powerful. So I understand that space where, you commit to something full on.
Mm-hmm.
I also understand where you're kind of half-assing it too, like that energy. I've been guilty of both, or had both, going on in my life. But what I'm doing now, it's all in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like there's no room for, I only got one plan and that's it. And there's everything is inside of it. Even if it were a failure inside of it, still part of the success story. Like there's no, but you said something about the plan. Like, so for your plan for what you were doing, even though you switched and moved out here or moved to California, you're still there, right?
Yeah, yes.
You are.
Yes.
Yeah. So how did the momentum build that? Because I know that has to be an aspect of it. Like all of our lives, what we focus on, when you put that level of focus into it, like this is plan A and this is the plan. How did you start to see the momentum building in that commitment?
So, just kind of going back to pivoting, I was at Stanford for about 4 years. And then I had an opportunity to leave something that I knew brought me joy, brought me peace, and all these things to move into yet another unknown world. And I moved into biotech. And people are like, how in the world did you go from higher ed to biotech? It happened, right? I took a chance on myself, applied, and it happened, right? So again, did I sit down and say, get home, like, this is what I'm going to do after Stanford? No, because when I was at Stanford, I was comfortable. Let's talk about good money. But I was like, I want to do something else. And it came a point in which I was like, this point of leaving, a lot of people are going to question, why in the world are you leaving Stanford? You have, you have a deanship. You have a deanship in your, you have one of the most highly selective institutions in the world. Like it's the, apex. I'm like, yeah, and right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
like most people would have that as the apex, like
correct.
Downhill after that.
Correct.
What's in you?
Correct.
What's in you? That's like, no, not downhill. Like have Stanford be the jumping off.
For sure.
What's that?
Yeah, I think it's this kid, like there's something more out there, right? There's something more. Even though I've known this, there's something more. And what that more looks like, I think definitely vacillated, during that time. But I felt like there was something more out there for me to do. And so when I moved into biotech, that was also very much so a connection piece for me because the organization that I joined, they were one of the only organizations biotech firms that were still in the fight to find a cure for Alzheimer's, which my grandfather passed from. And so that connection piece to even that drew me even more like, oh, there's something out there that now connects my personal, deep-rooted things that I care about. Right, my work directly impacts that. Even though my grandfather wasn't living anymore, I could say, yes, I had an impact even in his memory, right? And then from there, I finished my doctorate, and I was like, there's something more even I think from this, and that's what brought me into an executive role, which I thought it was going to be well into, later on in life, but it happened a lot earlier than I expected. And I think that that's actually brought a sense of not calm, actually, it's actually panic. Because I'm like, I had a plan that it was gonna happen way, further. I had a plan, but I didn't know it was gonna happen that fast. So what was I going to do after that? And so that after that point is what
your wiring is always more.
very much so was always more like, but now like, but that more got to the point where I'm like, okay, I've accomplished all this stuff, but now what? If there was this pause, right? Life calls me to pause, which oftentimes freaks people out for them to sit still
Completely.
and be okay with that pause, and how evident is a pause in someone's life unless they acknowledge it, right? And so I think, for me to pause really caused me to really dig down deep in places that I didn't know existed within inside of me to really get, that
I think it's so amazing.
yeah, to get that energy and the wherewithal to really say, you know what, now I'm going to step out and do something for myself fully. And I admit it's scary, but I'm going to do this. This is now my plan. This is my plan A, not my B, C, or D that doesn't exist. This is my plan A. And it's going to work because it has to.
Because you said so.
And I said so. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's that saying? When your tongue in your shoe and your tongue in your mouth are aligned, nobody can stop you. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Wow. Okay, so I'm so fascinated. This is let me get present again because you were saying some really cool stuff. So how was this for you internally?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot of stuff happening on the outside. The outside is mirroring what's going on inside. And that reset thing, because that's my first entree to working with me in a corporate setting or a team setting, is that we pause. And it freaks people out because they're like, what do you mean pause? We're supposed to be working. I said, all of that?
Yeah.
I promise you it'll be a lot easier and a lot faster if you take a pause, because you have to come from a blank space.
Mm-hmm.
And life doesn't give them that very often anymore. It does if something's really that you need a blank space for. What you said at the very beginning of this conversation is life has a way, tapping you on the shoulder, and then it knocks you to your knees until you get it, because that's your timing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were like aware enough to pick up on those signals as they were happening and being in real time with it. But I'm curious, how did that affect your physicalness, your spiritual, your energetic side of yourself? While these physical things are happening, like that space, I think it's really powerful to talk about the space between what we're creating mentally in our life and our bodies, and how that shows up in the world and how congruent it is.
Yeah. So all of those things, as you know, work in tandem. It's not like, let me pause this, let me pause this, let me pause this. All this stuff is twirling at the same time, internally, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm naturally intrinsically focused, so I'm constantly in my brain. I have to slow my mind down before I go to sleep, or I can't sleep right. And I'm very much so big picture. Me in nuts and bolts, that's not naturally how I'm wired. So I literally had to learn to slow my brain down, but also calm my spirit down as well, because I'm so heightened in like, okay, what do other people need? What do I need to give them, and things like that. And so how am I making sure that, we hear it all the time, that my cup is full and I'm not actually pouring out of a half full cup? I'm not even pouring from a full cup. The only reason you're getting anything from me is because it's the overflow, because everything that's inside the cup is something that I work for to keep for myself so I can be sustained. And so for me, it was a constant reminder to check in with myself, from a spiritual standpoint, whether it be prayer, reading, and things. I'm not really into journaling, so what I'll do, I pick up my phone and write a note down so I remember it. But
I do
also,
that too.
yeah, but also I think too, like self-talk. What are you telling yourself on a daily basis played a role in that? Because a lot of times we replay things that one maybe aren't true or did happen, but they're not your now, right? And so being able to really self-talk yourself into moving forward, saying, no, I can do this. This is possible. I've seen it done before, or this is something that I meant to do. It hasn't been done before, but I'm going to do it. And so I
Yeah.
think all of those working in tandem with each other really helped me stay grounded for myself, which then helped me show up for other people as well.
Yeah. I love that about the coffee cup and the like you keep it full for yourself. So the left oh god, I love that. So the overage gets all distributed wherever it goes.
Absolutely.
Most yeah, that's just a really brilliant way to think about it. Yeah, because that would automatically cause you to be available for everybody just by that focus right there.
Right.
And know to show up.
Correct.
So how do you keep yourself so clear? Because you seem like super clear. Are you clear all the time?
No,
Or
absolutely.
is... Okay, good.
No, no.
You're
Oh,
human.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, very much so human. Very much so. There's even in this conversation, my brain is working 50 times, faster because I'm trying to be, to your point, what you've done before, like be present and making sure that I'm not overthinking my responses, but I'm just giving you who I am, which is enough, right? I think sometimes we overcompensate trying to be enough, but in our own today, right now in this moment, we are enough. And just talk, have a conversation, show, what you've experienced, what you are experiencing, what you hope to experience. And hopefully that resonates, with people around you, with what they're going through. But no, there is a constant whirlwind inside of my brain and inside. And I just do a good job of, I guess, having a calm face, but there is always a hurricane happening inside. But my therapist always says, you're a hurricane under control. And I had to learn that, just
Hurricane under control.
hurricane under control, which is kind of like, how does that, because people look at hurricanes, they're like, this is massive thing. But once you get inside of it, it's a very destructive, wild, chaotic thing. But you look on top of it, and it's like this swirling thing that looks like it's moving slow, but internally, the winds are fast. It's destruction. Not saying I'm destructive inside, but there's just so much going on inside that I truly have to check myself, if you will, if things get too chaotic inside, because then it comes out.
You have to stay centered too in the middle of it.
Absolutely.
'Cause it's totally calm and peaceful there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kind of like us.
Yep. Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, with that brain, with that, I think it's just like, what are you sensing? What are you noticing now with the world? Like, just, is there anything that you are picking up on as like, man, I want to solve that. Man, this is like, I know you see things as opportunities, don't you? Yeah. So yeah, you can look at the world as like, a door or a window to jump out of.
No, yeah.
So, what is the context of what's happening? What's so right now in the, let's just say, well, anything birthing new, always the destruction of the thing that's already there. It's how it makes space. You can't build a new house on but the one that's already there. So as we go through that transition, there's a naturalness in human beings to stay the same, or I don't know if it's natural, but this propensity to stay the same, and the resist what's so, but you don't have that. So what are you seeing? Because you probably see something that the rest of us are not seeing.
So I'm finding that a lot of people are coming to this aha moment of we truly do need each other intentionally and not unintentionally. And I feel like the power of community is so big right now, from mental health to financial health, to anything right now. Like we are truly stronger when it's more of us. And I think that, this whole notion of I'm independent, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, nice in concept, but
Not in
actually,
reality.
yeah, not in reality, right? And so I think this whole notion of power of community, the power of togetherness is going to play such a role in the next
Yeah.
iteration of, our own selves, in our country, in our world, in humanity. And if
Yeah.
people don't tap into it, they're going to truly be left behind. And I would caution people to think that they could live life by themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like I thought about this. Like because I see it too. I see it. And I was like, what would make an impact or what would make a difference? But it's just like, I think a lot of people have a story about what it looks like or they have competition so present that they're like, oh, I'm going to lose something, or it's scarcity is what it really is. It's just scarcity. But there's this sense that they will lose their sovereignty inside of a larger group. So I have to be separate and strong and all of those things. But every wonderful thing in the world is, if you're building something that only takes you, your dreams are too little. And I did that to be safe for so long. And like after the pandemic, I was like, if I'm not building something I need other people for, yeah, what's the point? Like, what is the point? Do you have something something that's brewing that you're excited about for 26?
Yes, I do. Because I'm so big picture, is like, my everyday work, of course, one-on-one coaching, all that kind of stuff. But like, what system can I create that is sustainable? So even if I'm not there, the work can still be done. And so that's how I'm trying to figure out, there's one thing to have a thought, but to have a strategy and a system behind it so you don't have to be present for it to work. I think is something that I'm really excited about in 26, and being able to empower others to do the work for themselves, because that's who has to do the work anyway, just like therapy. You got to do the work. Yeah, you have to do the work. And so being able to create systems in which people can thrive and to pivot and to change, by themselves, but given them the necessary tools and structure to do that, I think it's really exciting to build.
It is. And something that's been really present for me lately is just the acknowledgement that it's love.
Yes.
It's love.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
So, if somebody's out there listening to this and they're standing on that edge of what they think that their life told them that that's what it is, but there's this major pivot that they're just right in the middle of it and they don't know which way to go, afraid to take a step that they're going to make a mistake. What do you want them to know?
First, everything that you need, everything that you ever needed was already wired into who you are. And no podcast, no pun intended, is going to cause you to be you. You have to be you for you. And you use things like podcasts and books to help enlighten that, right? But everything that you need is inside. But you have people like you who are holding space for people to share their stories. And so you can have that gentle nudge, like, you can do it. We've done it. You can do it as well. And you have everything that you need inside of you.
Yeah.
Now, upskilling, that's different. If you need a skill, if you need things, yeah, that makes sense. But truly, you are one of one. We're not just talking about Beyonce, right? You are also, you are one of
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
are one of one, and you cannot, no one else can do life like you. No one can do what you do like you. And so fully embrace that, fully lean into that intentionally, not haphazardly, but very intentional about the way that you talk to yourself and encourage yourself, because at the end of the day, it's you.
Yeah. You in the mirror.
Yep.
It's either a physical one or 8 billion of them that are out there.
Right. Right.
Okay, this has been like incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your information and wisdom. And yeah, the world's lucky to have you in it.
Sure. Thank you for having me, and thank you for creating this space for us to share.
That's the most powerful thing we could do, right? Is just create
Awesome.
this space. I used to think it was like coaching and information and all of the stuff that I've been trained how it was.
Right.
And maybe it was that way,
Yeah.
but something flipped, something changed. It's not that way anymore. It's about embodiment of those things that I spent 30 years trying to fix. Really,
Right.
it's not about any of that.
Right.
I'm glad I know it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if we don't embody it and use it, it's like having a Ferrari out there that you never drive. What is the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, I'd have a Mercedes anyway. But anyway, that's the
Touche.
but that's the point. It's like we have this incredible body and incredible mind and heart inside this amazing space that we create anything we want. And I'm just tired of being scared about it. And I'm not paying attention to any of that stuff anymore. And I'm just focusing on what's there in the now that's pulling me into the future nows. Yeah. So appreciate it. Very enlightening. I got a ton out of this call today. It's awesome. There's podcast, call, whatever you want to call it. But thank you for bringing the depth and some clarity in your life and sharing your story with us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
And to everybody out there listening and watching, I appreciate you guys being here and listening to another amazing conversation inside of 33 Conversations podcast. Just stay present, be honest, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.